y'all don't understand, that senior group of '08 didn't have a chance to win the national championship. That group of '09, that group in 10, they didn't have a chance to win the national championship. But they're all a part of this. We're not here if it wasn't for a decision that a lot of those guys had to make to say, you know what, this guy might be half crazy, but hey, we might as well try something different. And because they had to believe, and that was my number one task, was to create belief that hey, it doesn't have to be like this. Hey, we can be special. Hey, we can be great. Greatness isn't just for the Alabamas and the Ohio States and whatever. Man, we can do this. But here's what we got to do, in laying out a clear vision for it and a plan and a path and being able to articulate that. And then it was understanding that there's going to be adversity. And don't flinch when it comes. There's going to be some challenges. There's going to be some adversity. There's going to be some negativity. There's going to be that. Just stay focused on what we got to do. If we're going to change Clemson, it's going to be from the inside out. It's never going to be from the outside in. It's going to be from the inside out. We've got to change how we think. Got to change a lot of stuff. And we slowly started doing that. And the guys bought into it, and we had this energy. And we weren't a great team as far as just, talent or whatever. But, man, we pulled it together. And, it culminated that last week. Was emotional because I don't know if I'm going to get the job or not. But I had such a great time in trying. I was like, man, boy, if I could just have some time here, to put the processes in place, to get the philosophy in place, to get a staff in place, to start building some, infrastructure of what we need. I think we could really get this thing going. And then for us to win that game and beat South Carolina, they didn't tell me I was getting the job, but they kind of winked at me and said, hey, I'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock or whatever. So it was an amazing time. I can't believe it's been 10 years. I mean, it's a blur. Hello. So this is where Beth Douglas was. Actually, I take that back. This was a part of Tommy's suite. So he had the office, he had a bathroom. This was like a little lounge area that Tommy had. And then Beth was right there in that office. So Dan made this office, created office space for Graham and all them right there. But and then the other thing is, we didn't have a nice fancy glass door either when I was here. This was all wood door. But as you can see, great progress is taking shape in here. So Dan has classed the joint up a little bit. He's changed it around. We had couches over here, and I think that was a window.
It was.
I think it was all windows. And I was telling him, I felt like I was in a fishbowl at night. Be up here late, and it might be a baseball game or just whatever. And people would come by and they'd knock on the glass and say, "Hey, Coach Wayne, what's going on?"
And then
I came in and out of that door.
That's right.
And a lot of people would knock on that door. But and I remember I wasn't going to move in here. I just didn't feel right about moving in here. And after about 3 days of Larry Williams coming up and down the hall, I realized, what? I'm probably not going to be able to get this done sitting in this office on down there. So I remember boxing my stuff up, and I had just stuff in boxes. I mean, it was just all around, and there was nothing. I had just empty space everywhere, and I just was, but it was quiet. It was a place where I could get work done, and so it was great. It was great, and then we stayed here until we moved over to the West Zone. I think about July of '09, and then we transitioned from there. Terry Don actually moved in here.
Right.
And we started kind of redoing some of the space around here, and a lot of great memories. A lot of great memories for sure. I'm going to leave my mark here somewhere. That's
good
funny
stuff. After Dabo did that, and I saw it, I said, "Okay, well, I'm going to be right over there."
I always tell my players, man, just be so busy trying to be great that you don't get distracted by stuff that don't matter. And that's really kind of how I look at it. Man, I have been so busy for the past 10 years trying to be the best that I can be, help Clemson be the best it can be, help all these young people be the best that they can be. It's like a blur. It seems like yesterday. It just goes so fast, and that's one of my favorite lines in life is sometimes the days are really, really, really long, but the years are very short. And that's kind of what I say. I mean, 10 years as the head coach here is just mind-blowing to me. But I'm thankful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all the people, all the opportunity, the administration, our fans, all the players that have come through here who've laid it on the line, all the staff that we've had, all the way back to that first group of '08 that a lot of them probably weren't very happy for me being the head coach. But, man, they rolled their sleeves up and they went to work. And we made it work. So it's been an incredible blessing. And now, and when I got the job, I remember my first meeting with the board, I'm like, listen, I want to build a program that's unique. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want other people to look at Clemson and say, man, what the heck's Clemson doing? And here's how we're going to do that. And that's where we are. And my message to the players was always, hey, let's build consistency. I mean, we were, and people look back and say, well, the first couple of years weren't successful. I'm like, bull crap. We won 9 games the first year. We won the division. We hadn't won a division. We played in the ACC championship in '09, and ironically, it was in Tampa. And I remember walking off that field so disappointed. It goes back. God had something bigger for us. I remember walking off that field that night. It didn't go the way I had it planned. We're going to win 10 games. We're going to the Orange Bowl for the first time in 30 years. I mean, we're going to be ACC champs for the first time since whatever, Moby Dick was a minnow, however, whenever that was. And I remember walking off the field, and our guys had just laid their guts on the line. Spiller was the MVP of the game, and we lost. And I remember walking in that locker room, players were just devastated. We were so distraught. Fans were just, people throwing oranges at us coming off the field, oranges being thrown. And I remember just walking off the field, and I'm just like, all right, God never says oops, man. I mean, it just didn't go the way I thought it would go. And then the next year, we won 6 games. We had 5 losses by 6 points or less. I mean, we lost at Auburn, a game we should have won, and they're to win the national championship. We lost at Florida State, led the entire game until the last 2 seconds of the game. They kicked a 55-yard field goal that was good from 70. And but what I saw that year was a team grow closer. I didn't see a team. They didn't splinter. They didn't point fingers. They just kept working, kept competing, and I just like, what, we've got some good pieces here. Nuke was a freshman in 2000. I had some good pieces, and I had Sammy coming in. Taj was kind of getting ready, and all of a sudden in 11, we win the league for the first time in however long, and we had some adversity that year. But we didn't know how to win. It's all, failures are part of the journey, it's part of the success. And, we win the league and we go to the Orange Bowl and we play like crap. You know what? And that's a part of our journey. That's a part of our success as well. And so I just remember, just thinking, man, we won 10 games. I refused to look at the negative. I stayed focused on the positive of what we were doing. So many people were worried about what we weren't doing. And I'm like, guys, let me tell you what we're doing here. And what's crazy about it is we lost that championship game in '09. 7 years later, we're on the same field playing Alabama for the national championship. I have 88 career wins going into that game, which was my number. We're playing Alabama in Tampa, and we win the national championship. And the 5-star quarterback throws to the walk-on wideout to beat Alabama. And I look back on it, and it was just all God's plan. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. From me coming to Clemson to getting the job to everything that had transpired, it was all part of our journey, and I really believe those steps were ordered. God put the right people in my path, helped me make the right decisions, have the right focus, whatever it may be. And that's kind of what it was. I was so disappointed in '09 walking off that field that first year in the ACC championship game. God had something bigger. 7 years later on the same field, because I believe we stayed focused, we stayed the course, we continued to do things the way I felt like they should be done. I did not, every decision I made was criticized, or why are you hiring this guy? Why don't you hire that guy? I had one guy call me and tell me if I don't hire this guy, I should be fired immediately. And I just remember laughing. I'm like, well, if I get fired, it ain't going to be because I did the way somebody else wanted to do. I'm going to do it the way I believe it should be done. If it don't work, it don't work. And so it's just, and then I used to tell our players, here's what I want us to be. We won that first 10-game season in 11, and we haven't won 10 or less, haven't won less than that since. But my message to them was, let's become a consistent program, and that's really my vision for Clemson. I think that's where we are now, but we're not even close to what we're going to be. And that my goal is to be one of the most consistent programs in the history of college football. Hey, we'll win some championships along the way. It's hard to win. It's hard. It's hard to do that. I remember too. One of the first things, like, I didn't really know. Beth comes to me, Beth Douglas, and she goes, "How do you want to handle your mail?" And I remember going, "What do you mean, how I want to handle my mail?" And she goes, "Well, there's going to be mail coming here. Like, do you want me to try to process it?" I'm like, I don't need you to handle my mail. Bring me my mail. I was very independent that way as an assistant. I really did a lot of stuff just myself. And it took about 3 days. She brings a bucket of mail in there. And I remember I went home one night, like the next week during the open date. And it was, I told Kai, I said, I can't do this. Just opening the mail and the process of vetting it, I'm like, and then there were certain things I didn't need to see, and I went by, I said, "Beth, what did you do for Tommy?" And so she started telling me. She just kind of laughed. She goes, "Yeah, I thought you'd be back." And it's like, so we changed our whole process. That's my vision for Clemson. Under the old rules, maybe we already have another national championship or two, but it's tough. It's hard to get that done. And that's why I always tell people I don't measure it by that. I just want to be one of those teams that got a shot every year. Because if you're in the hunt, then hey, it'll all work out the way it's supposed to. But more importantly, I want to enjoy the journey. I want to enjoy the journey because that's what it's all about. Because being on, God doesn't make us for the mountaintop, right? God makes us for the valleys. He makes us for the journey. He makes us for the grind. And if you don't love that part, you're missing out on your life because that's what it's all about. It was an unbelievable, emotional, spiritual moment to hold the trophy up and know that we did it, and we did it the right way, and we loved our players as we did it, and we beat the best to do it against all odds, if you will. That was pretty special.